How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my week 11 predictions. Can't believe we're already on week 11. That's just insane to think. Whew, only got 7 more weeks left to the regular season. That's just absolutely wild. So I'll just dive straight in again, just go through all my predictions of the games, just break down my thought process, and predict what's going to happen and who's going to win every game. So I got the Thursday night game right, picked the Eagles. Kind of a little bit confident in the Eagles. Was kind of a weird game up until the fourth quarter. Eagles were just not playing very great, and the Commanders' defense is playing well. And then the fourth quarter, the Eagles kind of just went off and just took control of the game. So I got that pick right. So off to a good start. Always good to start off 1-0. Diving into the Sunday games here. So first one we got is Packers Bears. I'm going with the Packers in this game. I just oof, they are just the better team. They're playing much better. They're their offense has been better all year. They're well actually it's debatable which defense has been better. But the past couple weeks, the Bears defense has not been playing very well. It hasn't played absolutely abysmal, but it has not played well. It played good in the Chicago game, obviously, besides the Hail Mary play. The Arizona game, it did obviously not play very well. And then last week against us, the Patriots, it didn't play great, but it didn't play horrible either. Packers, they were on the bye. They were on the bye last week. So get an extra week to prepare, get an extra week to rest up, heal up, come out maybe a bit more energized. Obviously, they're playing the Bears, big rivalry there. Maybe the Packers going to get some extra motivation. I honestly, I don't know the off the top of my head, but I feel like the Packers usually play well coming out of the bye under Matt LaFleur. Bears just fired Shane Waldron this week, their offensive coordinator. So now I think they promoted their passing game coordinator to call the offense, run the offense there. Is that going to make them better or worse? Who knows? I honestly think their offense will stay about the same, maybe get a little bit better. I don't think it's going to get much worse. Maybe it turns into the offense, like it looked like in the middle of the year there, where they looked like a pretty good offense. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, Packers just playing better football. They're the better football team so far. They usually play well in big games like this. Big divisional game, big rivalry game. Packers usually play well. So they obviously want to keep pace with the Lions and the Vikings of the division. So they're really, yeah. I don't know. I just feel pretty good about the Packers in this game. I think, although I will say, apparently the weather conditions I heard are not supposed to be very good in this game. It's supposed to be rainy. So who does that benefit more? Honestly, I don't know. Because the Packers obviously used to bad weather conditions, playing in Lambeau all the time, frozen tundra. So I don't know who it benefits more, honestly. I guess maybe the Bears a little bit to the home team, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I think the Packers offense will have a good game in this one. Packers defense, I think, will have a good game. Bears offense, I think, is going to struggle in this game. Although, again, with their new play caller, maybe they figure some things out. Their offense looks better, but I don't think the Bears offense is going to look too great in this game. Bears defense, I think it'll play probably similar to how it did against us last week. Probably allow, a lot of some field goals, allow probably around 2 touchdowns, maybe three. Packers probably score somewhere in the 20s, I think. I mean, it's definitely not impossible for the Bears to win this game. A small part of my gut thinks maybe the Bears just come out, their offense was great with the new play calling, their defense gets back on track. Yeah, maybe the Bears, another small part of my guts is maybe they just win a close game in dramatic fashion, get their season back on track. But I'm definitely just going to go with the Packers in this game, just a more comfortable pick. Um, yeah, more comfortable pick. I'm getting a text here. Yeah, I cannot pick the Bears with how they've been playing and just how well the Packers have been playing. I just feel pretty solid about the Packers in this game. I am looking forward to seeing how this game goes, though. So I'll say the Packers win this game. I'll say 20. I'll say 27 to 14. I'll say 27-14 Packers in this game. Jags Lions. Yeah, I'm 100% going the Lions in this game. I think this is going to be an absolute disaster for the Jaguars. I would be absolutely shocked if the Jaguars won. And 99% of people in my league are picking them. So I think that's pretty telling. There's reports coming out that says that the Jags get blown out in this game. They're probably going to make some changes to their coaching staff. So I honestly think this is the game that gets Doug. This is the final straw for Doug Peterson and some other staff. They probably move on from Doug Peterson and some of his staff after this game. I really just do not see a very logical and realistic scenario where the Jags win this game. I mean, obviously the Lions are a far, far better team, and they played pretty bad for a half last week against the Texans. Their offense obviously played pretty abysmal, very poor performance in the first half with their, Goff had 5 picks in the game. I think 3 of them came in the first half against the Texans. But they still won the game. And that they were kind of due for a shitty performance, and they kind of had it last week, and they ended up winning. Well, they didn't play shit the whole game, but definitely compared to how they have been, that was definitely their worst performance during their win streak, and they won. So I think they are going to get back on track, look like the Detroit Lions that, have been playing most of the season. And my my exercise range is closed on my Apple Watch, even though I'm sitting at my chair at my desk here. That's interesting, but that's okay. But yeah, I just think the Lions get back on track. I honestly, I think this is going to be a scenario like the Titans game. I could see. I don't think it'll be as bad, and they'll win. Win 52 to what did the Titans score? I think 14 in that game was final score. Trying to remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it was 52 to 14. I don't think it'll be that bad. I definitely could see it being that bad. I just think the Lions offense is a really good game. The Lions defense is a really good game. I mean, Mac Jones and the offense looked pretty bad against the Vikings last week. They scored, I don't think it was their opening drive. I think it was their second offense drive, and that was the only points they scored. They really showed to move the ball. Mac Jones had a couple bad picks. I don't even think he had 100 passing yards. Their offense just struggled for the most part against the Vikings. And their defense got 3 picks on Sam Darnold, and their offense still couldn't do anything with it. Actually, I think that after the first one is the one they scored the touchdown. But besides that, I just think the offense for the Jags is going to have a rough showing. Their defense is going to have a rough showing. If, I try to say logically why every team could win each game, but I'm really struggling to find a way for the Jaguars. The Jags are just going to have like a random offensive good game. Their defense is just going to have to randomly show up. Maybe the Lions offense from last week, I don't think that they'll be throwing 5 picks with Jared Goff again. Maybe they have a couple turnovers. They're just out of sync, miscommunication, something like that. Because the Jags defense has shown signs that it can play pretty good football. They're just going to have a random good performance. I just am very confident with the Lions. I certainly know I'll be parlaying them tomorrow. Not that it's going to be that much because they're favored by so much. Let me see the line in this game, actually. Let's see. Okay, NFL. Yeah, the Lions are favored by 14, so that's pretty telling in this game. I just think the Lions are just going to absolutely demolish the Jaguars. I'm going to say the final score of this game is, I'll say 35. Honestly, I want to say more than John. Maybe this is a bit bold. I'm gonna say 42 to 14. I would be absolutely shocked if the Jaguars somehow won this game. Very confident with the Lions, as I think 99 out of 100 people are. Okay. Vikings Titans. I'm going with Vikings in this game. I'm not as confident as with the Vikings as I am in the Lions winning, but I'm pretty confident with the Vikings. I think this game their offense gets back on track. Their offense the past 2 weeks been moving the ball. They just keep turning it over and killing themselves. They're shooting themselves in the foot, just beating themselves more than their opponent is in scenarios like that. So yeah, I just think that gets cleaned up. That their offense is able to score, get some touchdowns rather than turnover, especially last week, for example. Darnold, I think all of his picks came right in the red zone. The Titans defense is a really good defense. I think they were number one overall, I want to say. I feel like one of the commentators said that, which absolutely surprised the hell out of me, especially because they gave it 52 to the Lions. So, yeah, I was a bit surprised with that, but I mean, the Titans defense is pretty solid. So maybe it, I definitely can see a scenario where the Titans defense keeps this close and their defense just is a good game. Maybe I don't think the Vikings are going to throw a lot of picks, have a lot of turnovers like they have been the past 2 games. I do think they get that cleaned up, and maybe they do. I don't think the Titans defense is very good at forcing turnovers this season, if I remember right off the top of my head. But they're just a very stout game defense, so I can definitely see them holding the Vikings to some field goals, keeping this close. Titans offense, it starts off good. They have a good game plan, then they very much struggle after the first couple of drives, especially in the second half. Brian Callahan scripts a good game plan. They usually execute it pretty well in the first half, especially their opening drive. We saw it against the Chargers last week, and then they pretty much struggle after that. Will Levis in this game against the Brian Flores defense, I think that has the potential for absolute disaster written all over it for Will Levis and the Titans. Brian Flores obviously confuses the hell out of young, inexperienced quarterbacks, and Will Levis, this is his second year, and obviously he's not played well this year. He's had a lot of turnovers, just misreads. So Brian Flores, I think that's just an absolute, like, the literal worst possible matchup for a coordinator, probably for Will Levis, disguising all his schemes and such. So yeah, I think the Vikings offense gets back on track. Maybe they held some field goals. I just think Vikings defense is a really good performance. They've seemed to get back on track after, the 2 game kind of drop off they had against the Packer or the not the Packers, the Lions and the Rams. This game I think could be closer than people think. I definitely could see kind of like a grinded out game, kind of like last week against the Jags, where I don't think it'll be that low scoring and that ugly. I just could see this game like a 17 to 10 ish, something like that. But I'm gonna say the Vikings win this game. I'll say 24. I'll say 24-14 Vikings in this one. Raiders Dolphins, definitely going the Dolphins. Dolphins looks like they're picking it up, getting hot, playing some good football. Since Tua came back, they obviously are only 1-2 since he came back, but all 3 games been close, and their 2 losses went right down to the wire. So they easily could have won those games. Probably should have won the Cardinals game. And the Bills game, they probably should have won that one too. They were in control for a good portion of it. It went right down to the wire, obviously, with Bass making the, I think, 60-yard game-winning field goal. So yeah, they are definitely better than 3-6. They played a pretty solid game against the Rams last week. Their defense has had moments this season where I've noticed, I'm like, this defense is playing pretty well, but it's also in moments where it's like this defense is absolutely abysmal. But they played well last week against the Rams. Obviously, didn't allow a single touchdown. They're at home, coming off a big win. They know they need to stack some wins together against a bad team in the Raiders. They usually take care of business with Tua and Mike McDaniel and company. They're at home. I think their momentum carries over this week. I think they win this game with a pretty good margin. The Raiders are just a disaster right now. Their offense, they were talking about if they're going to bench Minshew for Desmond Ridder. So that in itself pretty much describes how well the Raiders have been this year offensively for the most part. They're going to start Minshew, which, I mean, he's better than Desmond Ritter, but yeah, God, he's been playing poorly. The fact that they're considering benching him for Desmond Ritter, that's obviously not very good. But yeah, the Raiders' offense has not been good. Their defense has shown signs of being good. It pretty underrated, but it also has shown signs to be pretty vulnerable. I think the Dolphins' offense is a good performance in this game. I think their defense carries over from last week. It's a pretty good performance. I just, uh, I really don't see a super realistic scenario where the Raiders win. They definitely could win the game and pull off the upset. I could see this game playing out like how it did last year, where it was a close game. The Dolphins ended up winning late. I They held on. I'm pretty sure Ramsey got the game-winning pick, if I remember right. I could see it playing out like that, but I think the Dolphins win this game fairly convincingly. I'm feeling like honestly a 27 to 10, 27, 13, 14. I'm going to say 27 to, I kind of want to say 10, but I'll give myself some cushion with the Raiders. I'll say 27-13 Dolphins. If the Raiders win, I think their defense is going to have a really good performance, and their offense is. I honestly don't see their offense scoring more than like 20, although they are coming off the bye, so maybe they cleaned some things up, got some things fixed. Their offense just looks a lot better. I don't know. They're just going to have a random game where their offense just kind of clicks and their defense, I don't just want to say clicks, it has shown signs of doing so this season, but just plays one of their better games. I just am pretty confident with the Dolphins in this one. I'll say when I say 27-13 Dolphins. Rams and Patriots, my team. I'll actually be at this game. I'm going to this game. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong with this pick, but I'm going to pick the Rams in this game. I think this game, so I could see a couple scenarios in this game. I could see the Rams winning this game. I don't want to say convincingly, but they control the game. You know, they're up by 10, 14, 17, something like that the whole game. It just kind of floats around that margin the whole game. Or it's a very close game and the Rams end up winning it narrowly, or we win a close game. If we win this game, every time I say we, I mean the Patriots. If we win this game, I think it definitely is close. I really don't see a scenario where we win by more than like 7 at the most. I think if we do win, it'll probably be like 3 or 4 points. The past 2 games I've gone to, we dropped both of them. So hopefully we're able to win this game. We lost, let's see, 2 years ago, the 22 season, we lost to the Bengals, which we nearly came back down. We were down 22-0. We had that game. It looked like we were able to take the lead with like under a minute left, and Stevenson fumbled. And then I went to the game against the Chargers last year where we lost 6-0 in the pouring rain. I'm real glad I ended up going to that game of all the games I could have gone to. But my dad and I ended up getting tickets to the lighthouse that they built last year. So that was a really good experience. That was a good game view. We'll be in the lighthouse tomorrow too, so I'm excited for that. But anyway, yeah, the Rams are obviously they've been playing good football. Not last week, really. Their offense just kind of put up a question mark, kind of head scratcher of a game. They were able to move the ball through portions of it, but their offense just got stopped. They just a lot of that's all they kicked was field goals. They didn't score a single touchdown. I honestly could see this game playing out similar to how the Dolphins Rams did, kind of in reverse maybe though, with the Dolphins taking the Rams taking the Dolphins part and us taking the Rams part. Yeah, I think the Rams get back on track. Maybe last week, I don't want to say a wake up call for them. I think they, were ready to play this and play very well. Uh, yeah, I don't want to say a wake up call, but maybe just one of their shitty games of the year. Just got it out of the way. Hopefully they have another shitter in this one, so my team can win, obviously. But yeah, I just think just have a bounce back game in this one, and they look pretty good. I think they end up controlling the game. Again, I think they'll probably get out to an early lead between, I'll say, somewhere between 10 and 17 points. I honestly kind of want to say 17. That's kind of what my gut is telling me. And we just play catch up. And, I think our defense settles in as the game goes on, just plays better as the game progresses. And again, I mentioned it, but I think we'll stay somewhere between like 10 and 17 ish. And I just don't think we're going to have enough in this game to win it. I think offensively, though, I'm excited to see Drake May play. This is my first game going with this year. So obviously, first time seeing Drake May play. So I'm excited to see that. I still haven't got his jersey. So I think what I'm going to do is I have my Mac Jones jersey. I'm just going to put tape over Jones and write May. That's what a bunch of people have done. Saves me the $100 or whatever it is to get a jersey nowadays. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. But I'm excited to see Drake May play. I do think Drake May could give the Rams some issues with his scrambling ability. Running, I think this is going to be a rough rushing day for us. I think the Rams defense is going to do pretty good against our run game. I do think passing, though, I could see us. I think, again, we're going to be behind most of this game, so I think we're going to be pass heavy. So I could see us having a couple good drives where May has a couple good passes. We get a couple first downs. We're looking good, looking in rhythm. I just don't think we're going to have enough in this game, unfortunately. I'm going to say the Rams take this game. I'll say 24. Say 24. I feel fairly confident with that 20 to 24. I could see the Rams 17 to 24. I feel pretty comfortable in that range. I'll say 24 Rams, and I'll say we score. Do I want to say it's one score game? You know what? I'll say 24. I'll be optimistic. I'll say it's a one score game. I'll say 24-17 Rams. Really hope I'm wrong, though. Really hope I'm wrong. Started out 3-0 at the games I've attended, and now we've dropped 2 in a row. So hopefully we've improved to 4-2 when I'm there. My attendance record at Pats games instead of fall to 3-3. Excited for this game, though. We definitely could steal this game. 12% of people are picking us. Let me see the line on this game, actually. Let's see. Rams are favored by 5.5. I'm a little biased being a Pats fan, but I would say maybe that's a little. I mean, I'm not going to say that's like egregious. I mean, that's a fair amount, I guess. I would probably say they should be favored by about 3.5. If it was in LA, I think 5.5 would be a good line, but maybe a bit too much. But yeah, I hope we win this game. But I'm going to say Rams 24-17. Okay, that ice cube just went straight down my throat. Oh boy, I did not feel too great. Brown Saints. So most people bringing the Saints in this game. I am going with the Browns, and they're actually favored. I thought the Saints are favored. I'm going with the Browns in this game. Only 29% of people in my league are picking the Browns. I just think the Saints last week was kind of just a one time. They were due for a win. Just firing your coach. You get their special teams coach, Riz, in there. And yes, his name is like actually Riz. So does he have a Riz game? Who knows? But uh, yeah, that was a bad joke. That was a bad joke. Shouldn't have said that. Oh boy, cringing at myself now. But yeah, I mean, I think that was just, you fire Dennis Allen, you bring in a new coach, just you're due for a win. Got a couple feel good plays at MVS on deep balls, and they end up winning a close game. I think this week they kind of look like the team they did during their losing streak. I don't think they're gonna get blown out in this game by the Browns. The Browns are obviously not great either. They're 2-7. Maybe they had their one kind of fluke game where they were due for a win and kind of just, they had a magical performance from Winston against the Ravens, ended up winning in, nail biting fashion at the end there. And then the next week they put up a shitter against the Chargers and their offense really struggled. I think, again, I think that's kind of going to be what the Saints do. They had their kind of magical fluke performance. And not that it's a fluke that they put together a good game. I think they'll probably have a couple more of those this year, but I just think they get back on track, kind of put up or back on track in the wrong way, I guess. Kind of put up just a bad performance in this one. Cleveland coming off the bye. I don't remember off the top of my head if they usually play well with under Stefanski coming off the bye, but I think they usually do. Maybe, I don't know. I don't exactly remember. But yeah, coming off the bye, you get an extra week to prepare. Bad team against the Saints, and again, the Browns aren't a good team either, obviously. But a bad team in the Saints. Your offense. Maybe it's a Jameis Winston revenge game. I didn't even really think about that. But the Browns' defense this season has been pretty underrated and not as good as it was last season, but it's pretty solid this season. I think the Browns' defense is a good showing in this game. The Saints' offense struggles. Again, a lot of their production just came off of early drives where MVS just got open deep. I don't think that's going to happen in this game. I think MVS is probably going to have a quiet game, if I had to guess, in this one. And yeah, the Saints defense, I don't know. I think the Saints defense will be decent. I think the Browns offense could have a decent game in this one too. I just kind of think the Browns going to win. I win this game. I feel a little bit. I'm not going to place any money on them, obviously, but I feel a little confident in the Browns, and that's wild for a 2-7 team. I know, but I don't know. Just kind of my gut is feeling the Browns just take control of this game, and the Saints just look bad, and the Browns have like a convincing performance. Let me see how much the Browns are favored by. Talking about the spread. Oh, I'm in the wrong tab. That's NBA. Browns, where are we? Browns are favored by 2. Wow. Uh, I'm honestly surprised they're favored. I figured the Saints would be favored in this one. But I'm going to say the Browns win this game. I think they'll definitely cover the spread if they win. I'll say, hmm, I'll say 20. I'll say 23-14 Browns in this one. Something like that. Oof, this is going to be a really good game. Ravens Steelers. I am going with the Steelers in this one. This is definitely a coin flip game. See, a lot of games I'm not like too confident on with my picks in general, but this week a lot of the games so far I'm like fairly confident with. This game I'm obviously not. I'm going with the Steelers. They're the underdog. Let me see the line in this game while I have the app up. Why not? But only 31% of people in my league have picked them, so about a 70-30 split around here. And let's see. Wow, the Ravens are favored by 3. That's a little surprising. I mean, obviously they definitely could cover that, but if the Ravens win this game, I definitely think they'll cover and win by at least 3. Who knows? I mean, I'm just going the Steelers in this game because I know something about the Steelers this year. They're just playing a really good football. Oh, this is definitely the hardest game to pick so far this week. But Steelers is just playing really good football. Obviously, the Ravens are too. The Steelers offense, and I guess last year, obviously the Steelers offense was a mess for most of last year with Pickett and Matt Canada running it most of the year. And then they fired Canada and it looked better, then it looked worse, then it looked better. They had Rudolph in there. It's just kind of a mess. But the Steelers swept them last year, and obviously one of the games was Week 18, where the Ravens had the 1 seed clinched. They just played a bunch of their backups, and the Steelers won that game. They still struggled. The first time these teams matched up last year, the Steelers won, but they kind of got very fortunate and lucky maybe to win. The Ravens had so many drops again. I think it was like 200 yards worth of drops, or something absolutely insane like that. Actually, now that I said that out loud, that can't be true, but maybe it is. I don't know. But I just remember they had like 2 touchdown drops. They had a bunch of drops, and the Steelers ended up winning late with that Pickett touchdown pass on the sideline. And yeah, I mean, but my point is the Steelers offense was bad last year and it beat the Ravens both games. And the Ravens offense is very similar to how it was last year. It's probably better, obviously, with Henry this year. But the Steelers offense has just played pretty good with Ross. I think this is like the most complete Steelers offense we've seen since like Big Ben in not even like the COVID year or 21. I think honestly since like I don't know, like the 20, like when the Steelers still had Antonio Brown, like 20, that era with like the killer bees and Ben Bell and Antonio Brown. Like honestly, I think it's the most complete, and obviously it's not as good as it was then. It's just more like efficient than the past couple of years, and it's just the most complete in a long time. Steelers defense been balling out this year. They have a tendency to play Lamar Jackson well, it seems like. So honestly, I don't know Lamar's record against Steelers, but I'm pretty sure it's a losing record. I'm just trying to run through the games in my head here. I want to honestly say he's only beaten the Steelers once. I'm gonna look it up. And it was 2019, and the Steelers nearly won that game too. That was when they were struggling at the start of the year. Then the Ravens ended up winning that close game. All right, let me see. Lamar Jackson record versus Steelers. Yeah, he's only 1-3 against the Steelers. All right, so that's what I thought. Yeah, the Steelers have a tendency to play Lamar well. This is the most complete their offense has been. The Ravens' defense has shown signs of much vulnerability, miscommunication. I definitely think the Ravens' defense, it's a possibility they play a good game. Honestly, I'm going to predict that the Ravens' defense probably at the start and for a good portion of this game plays a solid game. The Steelers' offense might struggle, but the Steelers' defense is going to keep them in it. And then as the game progresses, maybe in the second half, third quarter, fourth quarter, and crunch time, their offense is going to figure it out. Russell Wilson's going to be clutch. The Ravens' offense, I definitely could see it. Even though I just was talking about the Steelers, typically their defense plays Lamar and company well. I could see the Ravens. I don't want to say. I mean, I guess I could see them torching the Steelers' defense. But this is definitely, I think, the best offense Steelers have played all year. And that was the case with the Commanders. That was the best offense Steelers have played at that point in the year. And the Commanders didn't torch them, but they put up a good amount of points. 27, I'm pretty sure. It was 20, or no, 21 actually. So maybe the Steelers, 21 obviously is not too many points. So I think the Ravens will score more than that, though. But I could see a low scoring. I see a lot of different scenarios in this game. Of course, the Ravens could win. I honestly think this is close to a coin flip. I probably have like a 55-45 confidence probability in the Steelers in this game. Yeah. Ravens offense, I think will have an efficient game, score a decent amount of points, but not like a ridiculous amount like they have a good amount of times this season. I just think the Steelers defense is able to keep the game close, kind of limit the points on the board for the Steelers or the Ravens offense. And their offense, even though I could see a scenario where they just play a complete game, just they're efficient the whole game. And if that happens, I definitely think they win. But I think just part of my gut is saying the Ravens defense comes out at the start, plays well, very, very well early on. Forces a lot of punts. They just have it going for them. And then, again, I mentioned it, as the game progresses, the Steelers just figure it out in crunch time. Russ ends up winning for the Steelers, puts together a good drive. Oh, yeah, I definitely think this is a one-score game, and it's going right down to the wire, regardless of which team wins. But I'm going to give the very narrow edge to the Steelers. I'm going to say the Steelers win this game Oh boy. I'm stuck between 20 to 17 and 24-20. Do you know what? I'll say Steelers 24-20 take this game. I could see 27-20. I think this game definitely could play out similar to the Commanders Steelers, that how that game went. Bunch of different scenarios, but I'm going to say Steelers win 24-20. Definitely looking forward to watching this game. Again, I'll be at the Pats game, so I'm not really going to be able to watch it live. Although in the Lighthouse, they do have all of the TVs on with all the games, and they won with Red Zone on, so I'll be able to, during a commercial break, I'll probably go inside, uh, maybe get something to eat, and just check on the scores in the other games. And I I probably sounded like so entitled saying that. I'm like so spoiled getting Lighthouse tickets. But anyway, yeah, definitely looking forward to watching this game back in the highlights and seeing how it progresses as the day goes on. Colts Jets. This is another game that could definitely go either way. I'm going to go with the Jets in this game. I'm surprised 64% of the people in my league are picking the Jets. Jets are favored. I mean, if this was in Indy, it'd be a lot harder. But it being at, well, I guess the New York Jets, but again, they play in New Jersey, so I guess it being at home for the Jets definitely helps them. They obviously put up an absolute shitter against the Cardinals last week. The Jets defense has been bad since Saleh has well, I was going to say moved on, but since Saleh got fired, it has shown signs where it's been decent though. Obviously, Anthony Richardson starting in this game for the Colts again, so the Jets defense definitely could have a really good performance. And Richardson obviously struggling this year, but again, maybe he improved like a little bit like Bryce Young did. Not that Bryce Young's playing great, but he's playing a lot better than he did before he was benched. So maybe Anthony Richardson has is definitely better than Bryce Young, I think. So I don't think that's a very controversial take at all. So maybe even if Anthony Richardson plays like he did before he got benched, I think the Colts have a good chance at winning this game. But I don't know. Does the benching make Richardson better? Honestly, I don't know. I guess maybe a little bit. Maybe he's talked about he learned. He's kind of can hit the reset button, go into the game with a fresh mind. So yeah, I definitely could see the Colts offense just putting together a really solid game. Richardson looking good. Colts defense, I could see it putting together a good game. Jets offense, I think I could see a scenario where the Jets offense just really struggles. The Boo Birds come out at home for the Jets. And I also could see a scenario where the Jets offense just kind of is an efficient day moving the ball. They put up a decent amount of points. And I could see a scenario where the Jets defense just has a really good performance like they did against CJ Stroud and company. And again, that is a big part of that was Texans offense kind of been in a slump since they were missing Collins. And then that game they were missing Collins and Diggs. That was a big part of that performance, obviously. Colts are pretty much fully healthy offensively. So obviously, I don't think health is going to really be a factor in that one, in that department at least. Oh, this is a really hard game to predict. I I honestly could see either team winning by more than one score. I could see both teams winning by one score. I just see a bunch of different scenarios, realistic scenarios as to how this game could play out. This is a very hard game to predict. All right. I think I'm definitely going the Jets, but if I had to pick one scenario, I think I think the Colts. I think the Jets offense. Oh my God, I don't even know. There's so many. I'm gonna say, all right, the Jets defense. I think will have a good game in this one. I'm gonna say Anthony Richardson has his normal, performance where he has a bunch of throws and a couple plays. He has a couple drives where he looks pretty good. But I think the Jets defense, the most part, plays a really solid game. I'm going to say they hold the Colts somewhere between 17 and 20 points. I'll say 17. The Jets offense, I think, has a good enough game where they move the ball well, put up a decent amount of points. I'm going to say the Jets win this game. I'll say 24-17. now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I feel fairly decent about 17 points for the Colts. Yeah, I actually feel fairly decent about 24-17 is my final score prediction for this game. I definitely could see the Colts winning, though. I just could see a scenario the Jets off and their defense just looks like a disaster. Oh, definitely could go either way, but I'm going to go with the Jets 24-17 in this one. Falcons Broncos, this is kind of a coin flip game. I'm in the slight minority here. I'm going with the Broncos in well, I guess from a betting perspective, the Broncos favorite, but my league, it's close to a 50-50 split. But I'm not in the majority in this one by some margin. 46% of people in my league picked the Broncos. I'm going to join them. Oh, definitely could go either way. If this was in Atlanta, I honestly might still pick the Broncos. This was in Atlanta, but I'd probably pick the Falcons if it was in Atlanta. Um, yeah, Broncos being at home, they're probably going to come out pissed off that they lost to the Chiefs last week. Should have won that game with the game-winning field goal at the end there. Broncos at home, their offense has been putting together some pretty good performances. Last week against the Chiefs, it started off fairly well, and then it fizzled out for pretty much the whole game after that until their last drive there where they put it together. Should have won again. The field goal at the end, they didn't, of course. The Chiefs get the block. Oh my God, help us all. But yeah, their offense been getting it going. Their defense has been balling out pretty much all year, with the exception of the Ravens game. I could see a scenario where their defense just is a really good performance, just makes Kirk Cousins have like a really ugly game. He's hit kind of a couple of those, like the Seahawks game. I kind of could see a similar performance to that game for Kirk Cousins. This is another game that's very hard to predict. I could see a bunch of scenarios in this one. I could see the Broncos winning by more than one score. I could see this game being close. And honestly, you know what? This might be a little bold, but I'm going to say the Broncos win this game by more than one score. Just kind of a gut feeling on this one that the Falcons just kind of put together an ugly game. I think this game is definitely close at the start, just very low score. I think this is going to be a low scoring game in general, especially at the start, a very low scoring game. Falcons defense, it's been kind of very up and down this year. Has shown signs of being good, shown signs of being bad. Kind of think we see both sides of the coin in this one. I think early on the Falcons defense plays good. Broncos defense plays good. A lot of punts, just kind of a defensive battle to start. And then I think as the game progresses, the Broncos offense is going to find its footing and it's going to put up a decent amount of points. But Falcons, I mean, I also could see their offense just having a good performance in this game too. Oh, very hard game to predict in this one. Actually, I'm not going to say that. Could see a scenario with, I could see a scenario where the Broncos win by more than one score. But actually, I know I said I was going to predict that, but now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm going to say the Broncos win this game. I'll say 21-17. I think it's going to be close now that I'm thinking it over again. Falcons definitely can win this game. I honestly think I said this is close to a coin flip game. Confidence probability, I'd probably say 55-45, like the Steelers Ravens for me. Falcons definitely can win this game. Could see their offense playing well, their defense playing well, just playing a good game. I feel pretty confident regardless of who wins that it's going to be very low scoring to start and just in general low scoring game. Honestly, I don't really see the team scoring more than 24 at the most. So I'm going to say 21-17 Broncos, but definitely could go either way. Seahawks Niners, I'm going the Niners in this game. I mean, the Seahawks definitely could win. When these teams played a couple weeks ago in Seattle, the Niners were pretty much dominating the game. And then the Seahawks, after they got a kick return touchdown in the third quarter, and then the Seahawks really got it going. It looked like they were going to come back. The Niners might have blown the lead again, but the Niners held on, ended up winning that game. But in this one, the Niners are just at home. I mean, they've been playing better football. yeah, they've been playing better football. Seahawks have kind of been struggling ever since they started off 3-0. They're 1-5 since then. Obviously, they've had a couple close losses. Uh, they were on the bye last week, right? I'm not losing my mind. Let me make sure. Um, Let me make sure here. Uh, yeah, okay, they were on the bye last week. Obviously, it's Mike McDaniel's first season as a head coach, so it's a little bit of a question to how the team's going to look coming off a bye. I guess that they hit a good bye week, just in general. A pretty good time for the bye. Week 10, kind of almost right in the middle of the season, sort of. Week after the exact middle point. They've been struggling, so you got an extra week to clean some things up, prepare for a team you almost came back against and won a couple weeks ago, and it's definitely shown signs of being vulnerable. I mean, that's the same with the Niners this season is even the games they've won and like the games they've lost too, like the Cardinals games and the Rams game is a perfect example, or are perfect examples rather, where they have control of the game and then they just let it go. Just something happens, a bunch of things happen, just kind of crazy plays, drops, fourth down conversions the other team makes that are turning it over. They just have momentum shifts that go in the other team's favor, and they end up either narrowly winning and winning a lot closer, making it a lot closer than it needs to be, or they end up losing. I think last week against the Bucs is a perfect example. I think they honestly, I don't want to say dominated, but they were in control of that game, and it was a lot closer than it needed to be. It should not have came down to a game-winning field goal attempt by Jake Moody, who, again, he was a big part of that. If he would have just made his kicks, they would have been up more convincingly. Wouldn't have come down to that, most likely, his game-winning field goal kick. But, yeah, the Niners' defense has actually been pretty solid this year, even though it's been banged up. You gotta obviously they changed coordinators again. They're doing a pretty good job defensively this season. I've kind of been impressed with their defense this year. Um, yeah, but Seahawks, even though they've been losing, their offense has been very weird. It looks bad, then it looks good. I mean, last week against the Rams, their defense, the Seahawks kept them in the game. And every time their offense got the ball for the golden opportunity, they just blew it with Geno throwing a bad ball, just getting picked off. That Bills game, they had some chances. Their offense shit the bed. Their offense, I mean, then it has drives where it looks like elite. So it's kind of a very weird offensive performance the past couple weeks from the Seahawks. I definitely I can see the Seahawks winning this game, especially coming off the bye. Maybe they get things cleaned up on their defense. Because they did just release their leading tackler, so that was kind of a head scratching move. I don't really know why they did that. I'm sure there was a reason. Obviously, I don't think they're tanking or anything like that. I definitely think they're still trying to win. But yeah, I'm not sure the reason why they released him. I don't know, but I mean, definitely could see their defense cleaning some things up, having a good performance. Mike Macdonald has the defense ready to play, just fresh start after the bye. Their offense just moves the ball and they just clean it up and they're able to finish with points. Definitely could see that scenario, but I just think the Niners are going to win this game. They're at home. They know that they need to start stacking some wins here to compete for the division title against a team that I think they're better than. The Niners know they should win. Except these teams did again play a couple weeks ago, and it's hard to play a division rival in general, and especially in a short time span, especially for the winning teams. They're just probably going to try to replicate a lot of what happened in the first game because they won, while the other team's going to probably be more incentivized to adjust more because they lost, obviously. So who knows? But I'm going with the Niners in this game. I think their offense is going to be a fairly decent game. I think their defense will have a good game. I'm going to say the Niners win. I'll say 20. I'll say 24. I want to say 24 or 27. Hmm. I'll say 20. Oh God, I don't know. I'll say 27. Yeah, I'll say 24-17 Niners in this game. I think the Seahawks will probably end up getting a drive late that makes it look a bit closer than it is. I don't know. I'll just say 24-17. I kind of want to say 27-17, but I'll stick with 24 for the Niners in this one. Okay, get some water here. Chiefs Bills. So I am picking the Bills in this game. And I'm trying to remember. Is this the first game I predicted the Chiefs to lose this year? Um, trying to think. Honestly, I think it is. I think it is. Yeah, I'm going with the Bills in this game. The Bills are favored. A majority of people, not a great majority, but 60% of people in my league are picking the Bills. I mean, the Bills have just always beaten the Chiefs in the regular season for whatever reason the past couple of years. Obviously, except the COVID year, the Chiefs beat them in the regular season and the postseason. Obviously, the Chiefs win when it matters most in the postseason against the Bills. Uh, Obviously, postseason, the Chiefs won 2020, 2021, which obviously that was one of like the greatest playoff games ever. I was watching that game, but I didn't get to enjoy it as much because the Bucs had just lost and Tom Brady was just eliminated. Again, I'm like the biggest Tom Brady fan on the planet. If you guys didn't know. And that was the game they were down 27-3 against the Rams. They got so many things to bounce their way. They tied it late, and then Todd Bowles sends a zero blitz, and Cooper Kupp catches the ball. Rams get the walk-off field goal, and the Bucs and Tom Brady are eliminated. And it looked like the rumors of Tom Brady's retirement, which again that was when he retired, then unretired like 2 months later. So I was really pissed off that the Bucs lost and Brady lost. So I didn't get to enjoy this game with like a neutral, happy mindset. But again, this is still like one of the wildest, craziest playoff games of all time in 21. So anyway, not to get sidetracked. Chiefs won 2020, 2021. 2022, that was the year the Bengals beat the Bills in the divisional round. And then the Chiefs beat the Bills in 23, obviously last year in the divisional round. But in the regular season, with the exception of 2020, where the Chiefs won in Buffalo, the Bills beat the Chiefs in 2021, 2022, and last year in 2023. So that's three straight regular season wins against the Chiefs. And it's in Buffalo this year. Usually when they play the Chiefs, those three wins I just mentioned, they've all been in KC. Now it's in Buffalo. So obviously that's going to be probably a bit of an added advantage for the Bills. Chiefs are obviously, I see this every week, they're obviously extremely overdue for a loss. They should have had it last week. So, I mean, I honestly do believe that there is like a certain amount of I don't want to say luck, but honestly, I'm a believer that each team is, when someone says like someone's due to make a shot or due for a hit or a team's due for a win, I genuinely believe that. So I think the Chiefs are obviously very overdue for a loss. And I do think each team has like a certain amount of fortunate, lucky things to bounce their way. And I'm going to say the Chiefs hopefully have used up a majority of it. Obviously, a big part of it was against last week against the Broncos. And again, they did make the play to block it, but they got very, just kind of a very fortunate play there. Obviously, the Bengals game, they should have lost. The Ravens game, they nearly won. Likely was in inbounds by like an inch, which the Ravens were going to go for two, so maybe they wouldn't have gotten it. The Chiefs would have won anyway. Who knows? Uh, what's another game? Falcons game. Falcons nearly had that. Probably should have won that. What's another game the Chiefs won this year? They should have lost. Um, the Chargers game. Chiefs probably did deserve to win that game. The Chargers kept it close. They were up 10-0 early. There's another game. This other game isn't there. Oh, the Bucs game. Chiefs probably should have lost that game too. But then they did have control. They probably I don't know. You can make an argument. They probably should have won that game actually, but definitely could have lost that game. But anyway, my point is, I do think each team has a certain amount of just fortunate things to bounce their way, and I think the Chiefs are using up a heavy majority of it. I'm just going to hope at least. And again, obviously, a good part of it is them just being a really good, well coached, just very, very good overall football team. But I'm picking the Bills in this game just because, again, the Bills just beat the Chiefs in the regular season every year for whatever reason. And with the exception of 2020, well, in like the Josh Allen Mahomes era, at least, is what I'm talking about. They just play them very well. Chiefs offense has obviously not been very great this year, just been very methodical. Bills defense has typically played the Chiefs offense well in their regular season meetings. I think the Chiefs defense, I mean the Bills defense plays another good performance in this one. I think the Bills offense is going to end up getting out to a fast. Can't talk here. Uh, get off to a fast start. I just like freaking was joking. Jesus. Yeah, I think Bills offense is going to get off to a fast start, and this is going to be the difference. I think this is going to be the first game all year where the Chiefs are kind of playing, I guess, catch up, but I think it's going to be within a one score game for pretty much the whole game, either way. But obviously, I think really the only time they trail besides, they trail week one, the Ravens are up 7-0, then the Chiefs had the lead after that, most of it. Against Cincy, I think Cincy had the lead most of that game. But besides that, the Chiefs have been ahead most of this year. And then the Falcons are up 7-0 on their opening drive. But besides that, the Chiefs have been able to have the lead most of the game. Again, the Bucs is the game they trailed again. But my point is, the Chiefs have been in control. They've had the lead most of their games this season for a heavy majority of the games. I think this game, it's the opposite. The Bills' offense ends up getting off to a fast start, and they're able to maintain a lead, and the Chiefs are going to have to play catch up. I think the Bills' offense gets off to a good start, but I think as the game goes on, I think the Chiefs' defense kind of just tightens up, and the Bills' offense kind of stalls out a little bit. Chiefs offense, I definitely think, is going to do its thing as the game progresses. It'll have a couple methodical, just well put together drives where they put up a good amount of points. I think at minimum they're due for 17, probably more than that. Yeah, I just think the Bills offense gets off to a fast start. That's a big factor in this game. Oh, Bills defense plays good. I definitely think regardless of which team wins, it's within one score. I don't see either of these teams winning by more than one score. I honestly don't think either team wins by more than 4 points. I think 7 would be like the absolute max, but I don't think either team wins by 4 points in this game. Of course, the Chiefs could win this game. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm rooting for a division rival in the Bills. Obviously, I know my team is pretty much zero chance at winning the division. So, I mean, realistically, mathematically, we have a slight chance, but realistically, we have pretty much like a 0.1% chance of winning the division. So I know my team's not going to win the division. We're probably not going to make the playoffs. So I'm just going to root for the division rival Bills in this game because I hate the Chiefs so much. That is how much I hate the Chiefs. Oh my God, I hate the Chiefs. You guys didn't know. Mentioned in all my videos, I think. But yeah, Bills. This is definitely a very, very tightly contested game. Definitely can see the Chiefs winning, but I'm gonna say the Bills win. I'll say 24. I'll say 24-20 Bills. I think it goes down to the wire. Maybe the Bills defense forces a stop to win the game. Oh, I kind of could see it playing out like it did last year in Kansas City, where the Bills they get the lead late and their defense ends up winning it for them. There's no Kadarius Toney to be lined up off sides this time for the Chiefs, though. I'm just gonna say the Bills win 24-20. Obviously, this is definitely one of the games of the week. Oof. Obviously, a very good, close, competitive game every time these teams match up. So I'm looking forward to watching this one. Probably have it. Well, have Red Zone on in my car on my way home from the game. But usually, I think by the time I get home, when a game starts around 4:25, the Pats game's at 1. By the time I get home, it'll probably be in like the fourth quarter-ish. I'll probably be able to see the whole ending to this game. But regardless, every week, anyway, I always look at the highlights and watch tape of every game. So definitely we'll be doing that for this game. Very much looking forward to see how this game plays out. I'm going to Bills 24-20 though. Bengals Chargers, very interesting game in this one. Chargers are favored. Let me see how much they are favored by. Um, okay. 1. They're favored by 1. That's about right. I think this is definitely, so it's pretty much a pick 'em game betting from a line perspective. I'm going with the Bengals in this game. I mean, this could definitely go either way. I could absolutely see the Chargers winning. I'm not too confident with the Bengals in this game. I'm going to say, again, probably maybe I'm a little more confident in the Bengals than some of my other 50-50 picks. I'll maybe say a 60-40 confidence split about what my league percentage pick is here. 61-39% split. 61 are on the Bengals in my league. I don't know. I just think the Bengals offense, I don't think it's an elite game. The Chargers defense has been absolutely very impressive. It's been balling out this year. I think the number one scoring defense still. Obviously, that garbage time touchdown against the Titans is going to maybe hurt that a little, but I'm pretty sure they're still the number one scoring defense. Their defense has been very impressive. I didn't think it was going to be this good. I thought it was going to be solid. I didn't think it was going to be this good. So very well coached. Jesse Minter doing a great job, phenomenal job coaching that defense. Defense playing very well. The Chargers offense has been getting it going lately in the pass game. And the run game's been pretty good all year, but now their pass game struggled at the start of the year, but they're getting their pass game going now too. And the Bengals defense has obviously not been good most of this year, but the past couple weeks it's kind of been picking it up a little bit. And for about 3 quarters against the Ravens, it played very well. And again, that's kind of a different scenario than this game. It's a division rival, so the Bengals obviously prepare for Lamar Jackson, the company's offense, a lot more than they do the Chargers. And it was their second time playing. It was a Thursday game, which the weird things can happen. So definitely a very much different scenario in that game for the Bengals defense than this one. But my point is the Bengals defense has been playing well. I think part of the reason I'm picking the Bengals in this game, just trying to figure out how to word it, is I think their defense just plays a solid game in this one. I think the Chargers offense will have its moments where it looks good and they put up a decent amount of points. I want to say somewhere between 17 and 20. But God, I just think the Bengals offense is a good game. And again, not an elite game. I think the Chargers defense is going to do its job for parts of this game, but I think the Bengals offense is just going to do its job and put up a good amount of points. I honestly feel pretty good with 24 as my number for the amount of points the Bengals score. And I feel fairly decent about 17 for the Chargers. Again, I think it's just kind of, I think in this game, the way it's going to play out is the Bengals kind of get an early lead and they have it most of the game. And the Chargers, they was look bad at the start of it. It's not looking too good. But then as the game progresses, the Chargers defense kind of tightens down, clamps up a little bit. And the Chargers offense gets going as the game goes on. And I think it's going to look like maybe the Chargers are going to end up stealing this game. They're going to come back, and the Bengals just hold on at the end. That's honestly, I think, how the game is going to play out. I think the Bengals offense might start off hot. Then the Chargers defense tightens down as the game goes on. Yeah, I think that, I'm going to say Bengals offense starts off hot. Their defense starts off hot. They just, overall as a team, they just play well. The Chargers look bad. Then as the game progresses, the Bengals kind of, just don't play as well. Chargers get it going, but the Bengals end up holding on 24-17. Absolutely can see the Chargers winning this game, though. their offense, I mean, their defense is obviously more than capable of keeping the game close. I think it will. With the Chargers offense getting going, Bengals defense has been bad most of this year. Could see a scenario where the Chargers offense just is a really good game. Their defense, I think, is going to have a not great game, but okay game. Could see a scenario where their defense plays very well. The Bengals offense kind of had a stretch a couple weeks ago where they weren't putting up a good amount of points, and they were kind of struggling to move the ball. And funny enough, that's when they were winning games too, and their defense was stepping up. It was against bad competition like the Giants and the Browns, but oh yeah, I'm gonna say that the scenario I laid out with the hot start for the Bengals and the Chargers figure it out as the game goes on, and the Bengals end up holding on. I'm gonna say that's how this game plays out. I'm gonna say Bengals win 24-17. Okay, some water. Texans, Cowboys. 100% going with the Texans. I I mean, oh God, Monday night football. Oh boy. Why? I mean, on paper I can see why the NFL put this as the Monday night game, but I don't think I shouldn't say anyone. I don't think most people expected the Cowboys to be this bad. Texans have obviously not been playing very great lately. They've kind of been on a skid. Their offense has not looked good since Collins went out, and obviously, especially since Diggs went out. They're getting Collins back, though. Even if they didn't have Collins, I would be picking them 100% in this game. But obviously, it's a boost that they're getting Nico Collins back. Especially, it's a big boost for two of my fantasy teams, obviously. One of them I've been winning without him for the most part, but another one of them I'm like, Jesus, I like desperately needed him back. Um, not to go on a tangent about my 458 fantasy leagues I'm in. But yeah, I just think the Texans take care of business in this game. I think their defense it plays a very solid game. Just they come into the game with a good game plan. They really make the Cowboys offense struggle. Cowboys offense has just been kind of a disaster all season, honestly, for the most part, but especially the past couple weeks, especially with Cooper Rush, obviously. It was just an absolute nightmare, just an abysmal, disastrous performance last week against Philly. Texans defense, I feel pretty strong that it has a good performance. Feel strongly about that. Texans offense, I think it's back on track. The one thing that I think could keep this game close to the Cowboys is their defense looked pretty solid against the Eagles in the first half, with the exception of that end of the first half drive. The Eagles got the touchdown. They had 5 sacks, I think, on Hurts in the first half, and they had 2 fumbles and an interception. So, I think their defense is just going to have a really good performance in this game. If it plays like it did last week against the Eagles for a half, or especially the full game, I think it definitely will be close. But I mean, the Texans are just kind of due for just a very, again, I was talking earlier about, I believe, teams are due and, stuff like that. I think the Texans are due for an offensive, not masterclass, but just a really efficient, complete offensive game like they were having the first couple weeks of the season. I think Collins being back, even though I don't know for sure, but I assume he's probably going to be on limited reps, working his way back from his injury. Especially a hamstring injury is one you want to be cautious with, especially for a receiver, and especially obviously a top receiver. So yeah, I just think the Texans offense is a good performance. Again, I could see a scenario where the Cowboys defense plays like it did last week against the Eagles, but I just think the Texans offense in the first half, I mean, against Philly, that second half they played pretty horribly. But I just think the Texans offense is a good performance. Their defense is a good performance. I think they win this game pretty convincingly. I'm going to say 27-13. That's why I have 40 as my final score here. But I think honestly at 13, the Cowboys will probably just get a garbage time score like they do in a lot of games. It feels like, to make it a bit more respectable, a bit more close than it actually was. And then I don't know, a small part of me, I mean, Cooper Rush, we've seen stretches of him in 22 when he had to come in for Dak for those couple weeks. He looked good. except for that Philly game, it was kind of a disaster. I mean, there's a stretch in that game where him and the offense look good, but for most of it was a disaster. We've seen stretches where he looks good, but the problem is that was when the Cowboys defense was very well, and kind of like the Chiefs, their offense was just able to do whatever it wanted, run, pass, play action, be methodical, do whatever it wanted. If the Cowboys are now multiple scores, I really do not think it's realistic Cooper Rush is going to bring them back down 14, 21 points against this Texans team. But I know my point is we've seen Cooper Rush have stretches where he looks okay, serviceable. So the Texans defense or the Cowboys defense can keep it close. Maybe we just have a random offensive game where the Cowboys just play well. I mean, I guess they're due for a good offensive game too, but I just cannot pick the Cowboys from this game. I feel pretty good with the Texans in this one. I'd probably say there's like my confidence is probably like a 90% level, like a 90-10 split. Yeah, 27-13. I think there will be the Texans offense will be able to solve Texans defense or the Cowboys defense will have a couple of drives where they probably force a punt, get a sack or something like that. So I don't think the Texans go too crazy with the scoreboard here, but I think they definitely win this game by more than one score. They're in control and end up winning pretty convincingly. They're in control for most of this game and win convincingly. Oops. So yeah, got all the games here. So it looks like a lot of the early games might just be kind of, not best quality football blowouts. Like this will be a blowout. I'm confident with this game. I interesting to see. Bears could win. I don't think it'll be a blowout. That'll be kind of interesting. Blowout. This is blowout potential. This is blowout potential. What did I say is the final score in this one? I think I said 27-13. Yeah, I'll go with that in this one. Hopefully my team blows the Rams out, but I don't think that'll be happening. Weirdly enough, I can see the Browns winning big in this game, by like 14-17. Very interesting game here. Very interesting game here. Interesting game here. Interesting game here. Obviously an interesting game here. Interesting game here. And then this is blowout written on it. So I don't know. There's a mix of games where it looks like one team is going to blow the other team out. A couple good games that could go either way, and a lot of interesting games this week. I don't think I said interesting as many times in my life, so I just did that like 30-second span there. But yeah, looking like a good field of games this week. Excited to see how they play out. Again, I'll be at this game, so really hope my team can pull out the win tomorrow while I'm there. And yeah, I will wrap the video up here. It's also 12:18 as I'm looking at my clock now, so I get these videos out so late, guys. I apologize. My schedule is just so crazy. I try to get it out earlier, but my schedule is just so crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's a good football week ahead. Well, I guess today technically there's 12:18. And good luck with your betting, fantasy, your picks, all that good stuff. So I always say, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed and have a good week of football. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy.